Hello everyone, I'm Ben Way. Welcome to the final edition of WorldPlayHQ. After 36 days, 298 goals across 102 matches, it's down to two, Spain and Argentina, the European champions against the South American and reigning world champions. Who will win the World Cup final? That's the question. And will someone complete the perfect bracket? Joining me to break down the two amazing semi-finals and give their thoughts ahead of the World Cup final, we have two members of the DAZN 48, Yassine Sadeghi, and Norwegian-based content creator, and Miss Adele, a football fan presenter and proud Ghanaian. Great to have you guys on board, and what a final we have in store, team. The two outsiders in their respective semi-finals, Spain simply irrepressible against France, while Argentina overcame a one-goal deficit to send England home. Did either of those results surprise you, Yassine?
As you said, it was the two outsiders going through. And personally, seeing Argentina scrape by, it was something that could have envisioned. But Spain being that tactically much better than France surprised me, honestly.
Well, Argentina versus Spain means a sideshow of Lionel Messi versus Lamine Yamal. Spain's 19-year-old wonder boy meets Argentina's 8-time Ballon d'Or winner on the pitch for the first time on Sunday. But it's not the first time they've met, is it, Miss Adele?
Crazily enough, it's not the first time. I think this is how football, I don't want to call it fate, but it's actually mind blowing to know that Lamine Yamal and Messi have met before when he was a baby in 2007. And I think that happened when UNICEF, in collaboration with Spanish media, which is the ROAS, had a charity event, and they had families and children make a raffle. And Lamine Yamal's mom, which is Sheila Ebana, happened to join the raffle and she won. And because of that, she was at the Camp Nou to take pictures with Barcelona players, and that player happened to be Messi. And initially, I thought the picture was AI until I actually found this whole history behind Lamine's mom winning the raffle, and it happened to be real that Messi actually bat Lamine Yamal, and now the face off is just mind blowing to see how this just turns over. Like it's crazy, and I even find it hard to still believe, even though there's still picture evidence that this actually happened.
Lamine Yamal, I'm sure, will be hoping that things continue to reflect what happened with Messi with his career now, of course, just kind of kicking off, already a star, but only still so young. What he will not hope, Yassine, is that Messi gives him another bath. That is potentially on the cards on Sunday. I hope for Spain's sake that doesn't happen.
Honestly, I would love for them to recreate the picture, even though that's not a big likelihood of happening. I do think Lamine Yamal will make his impact in that final, and I don't think Messi will give him a bath per se.
If you want another remarkable connection, guys, both players also share the statistical milestone of scoring their first World Cup goal at 18 years of age while wearing the number 19. Messi, of course, now wearing the famous number 10, played a key role in Argentina's semi-final win. So let's talk about that. Setting up both goals and subjected England to one of their most painful defeats in the process, Yassine.
Yes, I mean the fact that Lionel Messi. I saw a stat card before the game where we had different players with from both teams, most goals, most chances created, everything you can imagine. And with England, there were several different players for each stat. But for Messi, when it came to every single offensive attacking stat, he was topping them for Argentina, and he only added to that. And he's still the best. What can you say?
It was England who found the lead through Anthony Gordon 55 minutes in, and all looked rosy. Thomas Tuchel's defensive changes thereafter have certainly drawn the ire of the English faithful, though. Did they play scared, Miss Adele?
Yeah, I think basically that's what happened. After getting that goal, they just tried to defend, and that tactical change was something that didn't help because playing against a team like Argentina, whom even 2 minutes is enough to make a change, it was too early to actually pack the bars and try to defend. And of course, they paid for it. You know, we've gotten to the stage in the World Cup where every single decision that you take, either as a manager or as a player, is actually going to come back to haunt you. And that is exactly what happened in the game that Argentina played versus England.
I also wonder whether it's a double-edged sword if he didn't make the changes and stayed with an attacking format and suddenly they concede. Would he have been criticised as well? We'll never know. Argentina, on the other hand, well, they almost needed to concede to launch an all-out attack. And on top of the Fernandes and Martinez goals, they peppered England keeper Jordan Pickford, who made some incredible saves, it must be said. Is that the best we've seen of Argentina all tournament, you see?
I do think it was the best we've seen of Argentina this tournament. Mainly due to the fact that they had to attack and England invited the pressure, could be also mentioned. But credit to Argentina, they managed to do what both Mexico and Norway couldn't do after going under to England, and proved once again that their attack can turn it against anyone.
Absolutely. Legendary commentator Andy Townsend, I might lean on him. He summed it up really well. England are withering, Argentina are wondering. And as a result, England's 60-year wait to win the World Cup, well, that's going to extend another 4 years at least. Argentina, they now prepare to play Spain, who surely go in favourites after their masterclass against France, Miss Adele.
Yeah, so this particular one, I think it has to be an Argentina game. Of course, there are lots of expectations for this Spanish team. I think they've been so great, especially the defense. But I think it's still going to be an Argentina game, and Argentina should come out of this as back-to-back World Cup winners.
Well, we'll talk about their defensive record in a tick, but they have an amazing ability to defend through their own possession and just suffocating the opposition, don't they, Yassine? And I guess if that was to be the criticism of England, rather than parking the bus, Spain don't concede goals because they simply don't give you the ball.
They were so dominant against France in the possession on the possession side of things. Even though it might seem equal here, it was so fascinating to see them invite the pressure, and then just quickly punishing France for their non-cohesive type of pressuring during the whole game. They just played through the middle, and the way they're outnumbering teams in the midfield in particular is something to just admire. And I'm really looking forward to see how Argentina will tackle that battle in the midfield.
So Mikel Oyarzabal, he opened the scoring from the spot for Spain. That was his 5th goal of the tournament. Pedro Porro with the sealer midway through the second half. What did you make of the penalty? There was a little bit of discussion. You've seen that this was controversial. I feel as though Lamal's just jumped on an opportunity.
Yamal, there's a moment actually after that penalty is given where Yamal meets Mbappe's gaze, and they just smile at each other, and Yamal gives him a pat and Mbappe does the same. So I think that summarizes it perfectly, that Mbappe acknowledged the fact that Yamal, he probably did what Mbappe would have done in the same situation, and Luka Din had to be better orientated in that situation, and he wasn't, unfortunately for him.
Another clean sheet for Spain. So keep in mind the fewest goals conceded by a World Cup winning team is 2. That record's jointly held by France in 1998, Italy in 2006 and Spain in 2010. So far they've conceded just 1. That was in the quarter-final against Belgium. And what makes them such a cohesive defensive unit? That's the question, Miss Adele. How do they do it?
I think there are lots of things that makes this Spanish defense a very cohesive unit. I think the first one has to be the team philosophy. The second one has to be the communication among the defenders, the midfielders, and then the goalkeeper. Now, when you look at the game that Spain has played so far, of the balls that they recover is in the final third of the opponent's half. That will tell you that they are not only attacking, but they are making sure they are setting the boundaries right, they are staying compact and trying to stop the opponents from actually coming into their half and score. And it's impressive. It's mind-blowing how they're able to do this. And you also realize that most of their defenders are very versatile. A player like Marco Correa, sometimes he inverts, Kubasi, Laporte, all these players are actually good. And the communication between them is something that is actually working and something that has helped Spain so far and why they have the record.
Okay, now bear in mind this stat, guys, is for 90 minutes plus extra time. It doesn't include penalties, but they're 37 games unbeaten. They've equalled the European record, and they've become the first European nation to win 8 straight knockout matches at major tournaments, and yet they keep going in as outsiders into these. On an individual level, Lamine Yamal, we touched on, didn't score himself, but certainly earned the opening penalty and had another disallowed. So his contributions are undeniable. He's undefeated in a major tournament when he starts, 21-6-0. And Rodri needs a mention too. He was the heartbeat once again. The hamstring injury that hindered his Premier League season for Man City, that seems a distant memory now. Does he get the credit that he deserves, Yassine?
For everybody that wondered why did Rodri win the Ballon d'Or, performances like the one against France is exactly why. The guy is the one that makes the play move and tick, and he is so good at his job. And honestly, he's in all-timer discussions for that number 6 role, were Spain to win it. And for me, disregarding a World Cup win, his name should be mentioned amongst the greatest number sixes.
Well, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, far be it for me to quote the great Zlatan, but I will just for today, if you can forgive me. What a game, what a player. He certainly impressed the great. Miss Adele, for all the talk of Mbappe, Dembele, Kane, Bellingham, Messi, Rodri would be a worthy winner of the Golden Ball, wouldn't he?
Okay, so depending on who is going to win the finals, mostly as soon as a team wins, it actually goes in favor of the player who has stood out. So this one, I think probably it should be going to either Messi or Rodri. But if it goes to Rodri, Spain wins the World Cup, then I don't think there is a big chaos about that.
Well, you mentioned, Yassine, the Ballon d'Or. There's also the player of the tournament for Euro 2024. So regardless, really, it's been quite the resume builder, and a World Cup win would add volumes. For France, that's 3 major tournament losses in a row to Spain, a semi-final defeat at the 2024 Euros, 2025 Nations League, and now the World Cup. So what separates these two teams, Yassine? Is it now a matter of belief as much as anything?
In this particular game, the midfield battle was completely lost by the starting lineup, and I honestly cannot fathom why Deschamps didn't make his substitutions earlier. And comparing his philosophy to De La Fuente, it's clear to me who the better national team manager has been, at least judging by the last few years.
A semi-final is a great achievement, but I can't help but feel this might be considered a failure from within France, for France, Miss Adele.
Yeah, when it comes to football, I think you can see the difference in how every team looks at the outcome of this World Cup. My friend Yasin from Norway, I think Norway getting to the quarterfinals of the World Cup is a big deal and a cause for celebration. But with a team like France, who has been there, who has played back-to-back World Cup semifinals and finals, losing the semifinals to Spain is like a defeat. It's just equivalent to you being eliminated out of the group stage. And so no matter which angle you want to look at it, for me, it's a failed campaign for France, and I'm sure they'll look at it as such.
Well, Spain will meet Argentina, as we touched on. These two have never met in a final. In fact, they've never met in the knockout phase of a World Cup, which, when you consider both of their histories, it's ridiculous. The only time they've met at a World Cup before was in the group stage in 1966, where Argentina won 2-1. I can't see that having a massive bearing on the outcome of the final in a few days' time. Yassine, your thoughts ahead of the final?
For me, after a tactical masterclass against France, and even though the cynical side of the game is where Argentina can get things into their favor, and of course Messi could create from whenever he could create at any time, but I do favor Spain heavily in this one.
Okay, Miss Adele, I'll put it to you. Will we have a high-scoring final, or will Spain strangle yet another opponent?
Oh, I think both of them are actually going to struggle to get goals. Yes, it's going to be a very, very difficult one, because these are two sides that just don't have the word giving up in their dictionary, and they are going to put up a fight for it. And I don't think there are going to be a lot of goals. It could end by just 1-0, 2-0, or if maybe the game becomes more than we expect, we could even go into penalties. But I don't think there are going to be a lot of goals in this World Cup finals.
Okay, before that game, France play England and they'll meet to decide third place in Florida. I don't imagine I'd necessarily want to play this game in this position. How difficult would it be to conjure something after suffering such a significant defeat, Yassine?
I think Adele perfectly summarized it by saying that for a team like Norway, reaching the quarterfinals is a fantastic achievement. And in that regard, if Norway were to play or any other outsider team were to play in a bronze final, as we've had Morocco, Croatia in the previous edition, I think that's bigger for nations that probably didn't think they would be in a battle for a medal. Whilst for teams that had envisioned winning the whole thing, it's a completely different story. And we might even see some French players being rested for this game, is what I've heard. So that tells it all, really.
Yeah, it is important to note there is something to play for. The third place playoff does count towards the Golden Boot standings. Messi might not have scored against England, but his 2 assists were enough to claw back the lead from Mbappe. Both are on 8 goals for the tournament. But in the event of a tie, assists are the tiebreaker, so 4-3 as it stands. So Messi on top, Haaland's remarkable tournament sadly over. It now looks a race in 2. You can't help but think Messi has bigger things on his mind though. So interesting one to see who comes out on top there. Your thoughts, Yassine?
Honestly, Messi and his game against Spain on paper looks to be tougher than the one for Mbappe. And I've said that I favored Mbappe from the get-go when it came to who will be the top scorer. So I can't swap him out when he's equal with his main competitor, even though it's Lionel Messi, and I could be punished by saying those things.
No, stick with what you know. You've been good so far. Can we get a third place playoff prediction from you, please, Miss Adele?
France to win by 3-1.
Okay. Does Mbappe score?
Yeah, so I think Mbappe should be getting some goals if France has not been able to win the World Cup. I mean, this has happened over the years where if even a team that Mbappe has played in, even if they fail to win the trophy, he's actually there getting the top goal scorer. So Didier Deschamps should make sure he starts Mbappe in this game so that he can get some goals, at least to finish as the top scorer.
Okay, it was sad
So
to see. I feel like Norway's got a good run in this show, Yassine. As we reflected on the tournament as a whole, they really did capture the imagination of the world. What was the reception like at home? It looked amazing.
There was, I think, 120,000 people around those numbers. I was actually walking behind that bus for around 2 hours, and yeah, wonderful, wonderful scenes. I met some of the students that I usually teach at my school, and just wonderful scenes all together. Seeing people getting the reception that they deserve, and seeing the overachievers stat here. Every single World Cup that I've been able to witness, there's always this talk about which outsider team will be the one that catches the hearts of the entire world. And perfectly, when Norway finally managed to qualify, it was Norway that stole the hearts of everybody, I would say quite confidently as well.
Yeah, and Cabo Verde, I think they were the 2 fairy tale stories for sure. We did see some big guns depart the tournament earlier than anticipated. Germany and the Netherlands, they were out in the round of 32, a surprise, and so too the exits of the 5th and 6th ranked countries in the world in Portugal and Brazil in that round of 16. Who did you expect more from, Miss Adele, as we head your direction?
Yeah, so I expected more from a team like Brazil and Portugal. Now, going into the World Cup, Portugal was a team that was most talked about because of the midfield that they had. Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, João Neves, all these players who have had a successful season. And so we had a lot of expectations for them, but I mean, they were big disappointments. Having that kind of team and getting eliminated in the round of 32 is a big failure. And for a team like Brazil, I think honestly Brazil underestimated Norway. They didn't actually think Norway could put that off and they let their guys down. And basically that is just what happened. Norway came in fight for it, surprised them, and took Brazil home. But I also expected a lot from Brazil, honestly.
Love your work, guys. Enjoy the final. Thank you very much for your company over the past few weeks. A big thank you as well to all of our guests who've joined us on the show throughout the tournament and to our team behind the scenes as well. I appreciate you. If your bracket is still alive heading into the final, good luck. You're still in the running for the major prize. If not, there's still plenty up for grabs. So make sure you follow the action right up until the final whistle. It's Spain versus Argentina, live from New York, New Jersey Stadium. Enjoy the match.